Hello, so this is my follow-up video on the video I made on using possessive adjectives in French. So it features just more examples. Possessive adjectives are things like my, your, his, her, our, and their. If you need a reminder on how to select the correct one in more detail, you can watch the other video. So let's have a look at those examples. I have copied here to the top the table that you should be using, and I have a reminder that we need to use step 1 first and then step 2 afterwards. Step 1, decide who owns the thing, so the correct line, and step 2, decide on the correct column when we look at the thing or person itself that is being described or owned. Let's have a look at number 1, our car. So step number 1, who owns it? Our, so we know it's going to come from this line here. And then we have to decide step number 2, if the thing is masculine, feminine, or plural. Now what we see here with ours, there's only one option for masculine and feminine, so we need to decide if there's one or many. Our car, there's only one, so we're going to be selecting from here notre. We still need to look up the word car in a dictionary or in a vocab list because we need to get the right spelling. So once we find it, it says une voiture, and then we can write it out, our car, notre voiture. Now that we've just gone through the first example here with number 1, I strongly recommend you take a piece of paper and a pen, you pause this video, and you write out the answers to questions 2 through to 8 using the table and the steps that are there. Then you can press play again and check your answers to see if you got them right. So, number 2, your plural family. So, step number 1, who owns it? Your plural, so it's going to come here, so this line here. Again, just like with our, I only have one option for masculine and feminine, and then one option for plural. So I need to decide, is there only one of something, or is there many of the thing? Family, even though there's many people in it, the word itself, there's only one family. It's not families, it's family. So I know I'll be using votre. I still need to look up family in a dictionary or in the vocab list so that I get the right spelling. So une famille. And then when I write it out, I've selected votre here because there's only one family. Votre famille. Number 3, our grandparents. Step number 1, who owns it? So the line here, our. And again, we only have one option for masculine or feminine and one option for plural. So we need to decide, is there one of something or is there many of something? With grandparents, because of the S here, we can see that it is plural. So it tells us we're going to be using this column. Just like with the others though, we still need to look up grandparents in our vocab list or dictionary to make sure we get the right spelling. So when we do this, we get des grands-parents. And so when we write it out, we're going to say nos grands-parents. Number 4, their house. So step number 1, who owns it? It is their, so it's here. As with the others that we've just done, we only have 2 options, one which is masculine and feminine, and one which is plural. So we have to decide if there's only one of something or many of something. Their house, there is only one of them, one house, because there's no S at the end. So we'll be selecting this one here. Once we've looked up house in the dictionary or vocab sheet, we can find the spelling, une maison. And so once I write it out, selecting the correct there, leur maison. Number 5, her dog. Step number 1, who owns it? So we're going to be here, her. So it's going to be from this line here. Step number 2, we need to decide if dog is masculine, feminine, or plural. We know it's not plural because it's not dogs, but we still need to look up if it's masculine or feminine. Once we look up dog in a dictionary or in a vocab sheet, we're going to find that it says un chien. And because it has un in front of it, this tells us that it is masculine. So we're going to be selecting this column. So we write out son chien. Now it doesn't matter that it is a her that owns the dog. We still select the masculine because on is the ending for the thing described, which is masculine. Not who owns it being a boy, the thing described being masculine. Number 6, his friends. So step number 1, who owns it? It's going to come from here, his and her. And then step number 2, is it masculine, feminine, or plural? So friends has an S here, so that tells us straight away that it is plural. We still need to look up the spelling, of course. You have two options for the words you want to select for friends. We're just going to select ami, so un ami. Now, because it's plural, I'm going to be here, and therefore, his friends, ses amis. Do remember to write the S here, of course. My friend, and it's going to be a female friend. So step number 1, who owns it? It is my, so it's going to be from this line here. Step number 2 is the thing described, masculine, feminine, or plural. So the friend here, I've told you it's a female friend, so it's going to be feminine. Now, once we look up the word for feminine friend in the dictionary, we're going to find une amie. Now, that should give you a little warning because ami starts with a vowel. And as you saw in the previous video, feminine words that start with a vowel will affect the word in front of them. So we see this often in French where the vowel affects what comes in front of it. And so on your paper, the rules say that a feminine word that starts with a vowel will need to use the masculine form. Now with these three here, the masculine form is the same, so that doesn't matter. But here with ami, we need to use the masculine form. So rather than say ma ami, we say mon ami. It just is easier to say and it sounds better, and so that's why we pick it. Feminine word that starts with a vowel, you need to use the masculine form. So mon ami. Finally, number 8, your, singular, so for one person, church. So step number 1, who owns it? Your, singular here, so we're going to choose this line. And then the word for church, we're going to look it up. It's not plural. So when I do my step number 2, it's not going to be plural. I have to decide if it's masculine or feminine. So I'm going to look it up in my list of places in town. And I see it's une église. So it's a feminine word. But again, it starts with a vowel. Therefore, as with the previous example, even though it's feminine, because it starts with a vowel, I need to use the masculine. Only feminine words do this. So once I've selected the masculine column, I'm going to write ton église. There's a lot more examples that you can practice. I would suggest that you just sit down with the table here and a list of vocabulary, and you practice them, you test yourself, and you can check your answer using, for example, Google Translate, and then it should tell you if it's right or wrong. There we go. Hope this helped.